My guest on the podcast this time out is Lucie Barat. Lucie is a writer, poet, actor and rock star. Big sister of Libertines frontman Carol Barat. Lucie is performing her play, Standing in the Shadows of Giants, in the Omnibus Theatre, Clapham, from the 24th to the 29th of June, which is next week. There'll be a ticket link in the bio. So we spoke about that. We spoke about Lucie's early life growing up and how that got her into TV and then from that into music. Lucie has performed in bands as well as doing her own solo stuff. She supported the Charlatans and the Libertines, and as well as writing this play with everything else that's going on. Lucie and her partner are the parents of triplets, as if life wasn't hectic enough. We spoke about all this, plus Lucie picked her heroes. I hope you enjoy the podcast. If you do, please keep liking, commenting, sharing and subscribing. But more importantly, enjoy.
Sky bursts through the sunlight in my way. The seasons look like changing, but the cold will stay. Another helpless story ends today. It's all I ever dreamed.
On the podcast today, I have Lucie Barat. Let's see. I've said that in a funny way there, didn't I?
I know. Well, not to be honest.
Yeah, I have Lucie Barat. If you know the name, her brother is Carol Barat of the Libertines, but Lucie's done tons of stuff in her own right. We're going to touch on it all. On her Twitter, I was looking at her Twitter and she describes herself as an artistic Dale boy and a beer-fueled dreamer. So we're going to delve into all of that. But what I like to do to start, Lucie, is get back to your early life growing up and what that was like for you.
How early are we going?
As early as you want to go.
Well, I guess it all started in the sunny town of Basingstoke, which is just outside London. It's a new town, really. We lived in Brighton Hill, which is a big sprawling council estate around the edge of it. And then my parents did a swap and moved to somewhere a little bit leafier, just outside of Basingstoke, and that's where we kind of grew up. So my parents split up when I was 7, Carl was 5, and then my dad got together with my stepmom, and she had 2 kids the same age. So, and then they had a kid together. So there were, we were quite a sort of big family, but we'd split our time between parents as our stepbrother and sister. My mother became a New Age traveller. She joined the what are they called? The Peace Convoy. So that was all very interesting. She lived in communes and did festivals and camps and things in the summer. So he had quite an eclectic childhood.
Yeah. I was reading as well. Did your dad used to be an artist?
Yeah. My dad's an artist and a writer, and basically we just spawned from a long line of sort of artists, vagabonds, and hippies, really.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was a photographer, an artist, a writer. And my mum's just a pagan lover of life.
So, my next question would be, kind of, what was your early ambitions and influences? So, was it always were you always going to go down the kind of creative route?
Yeah, no, I think I was saying to Carl this morning, actually, because we used to do write comics and do magazines and things together. And we did this book about our parents called The Groans, and we illustrated it, and you could only ever see it from like the calf down, kind of like
Yeah.
yeah, I nearly said Ben and Jerry, Tom and Jerry. And yeah, no, I think I wrote my first book at like 10. I used to love all of that stuff. I wanted to be a ballet dancer. I wanted to be a dancer, which extended right until I tore my hamstring at 18, and decided to audition for drama school instead. But yeah, my dad was always into music. He had this Les Paul and little practice amp, and he'd disappear into this room and just make noise. And he loved Jimi Hendrix and Peaches, and yeah. So we had quite a lot of. My dad would like reward us for writing poems and things rather than sort of getting high marks on a maths exam. So I guess we were encouraged in that direction. Yeah.
Yeah, and do you think, like, looking obviously touching further on the interview, obviously you get 3 kids, you get triplets. So do you think with the upbringing that you're giving them will probably take them down that route?
Well, I don't know, because actually, I mean, it's a blessing and a curse, isn't it? Sort of like having artistic it's it's a horrific industry to try and enter, but on the other side, to have that outlet is amazing. But I think they're having triplets, like they're all obviously the same age and at the same stage. You get to see they're so different. So it's encouraging them in the direction that you can tell they have aptitude and what rewards them and what. So we have one child that is incredibly she's just always twirling around in her own world and goes to drama club and loves it, and that is clearly sort of she's a natural. And then the other one's kind of like quite sporty and athletic and academic, so you kind of just wherever you can see what gives them joy, and you'd encourage them in those directions. I suppose it's the endless clubs as well. You've got triplets, and it's just like, please all like the same thing. And the moment, because they're only 5, they kind of just get ferried to the same club. Although I did have to bribe my son the other day to go into drama club. I was like, please give me an hour.
So you went to drama school.
I did.
So was that kind of more the focus then? Was it more kind of acting than music at that stage?
Oh yeah, 100%. I was kind of, yeah. I think I'd already that dance performance gave me that sort of soaring, sort of like, I think Billy Elliot probably describes. But we didn't have a drama teacher at my secondary school. It was like quite a shit secondary school when
that's wild.
Community secondary school. But I had started I started sort of reading a lot, and I was reading plays. So yeah, I think I kept that quite hidden. I think I was kind of embarrassed because at that time and where I grew up, it was kind of quite a sort of, to say that you want to be an actor was quite a sort of almost arrogant or a sort of vacuous kind of, I don't know, but it was an embarrassing thing to admit you wanted to do. For some reason, it was easier to sort of be a dancer. And then I ended up doing a BTEC in performing arts at college, which is a bit of everything. And then I was like, no, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to do it because, yeah, I started kind of getting on the train to the West End and watching like David Mamet plays and things like that. And just, yeah, I don't know. I just loved it. I would read like Christopher Marlowe and stuff, like, whilst not being pressured by a teacher. So I think kind of the direction. And then later on, obviously writing, because yeah, I mean, you have to find your way, don't you? You just know something draws you, and you don't know whether it's the performing, the writing, the direction, the whole package. But yeah, that's I managed to get a scholarship, and off I went to London.
Right, and I've got here. Obviously, you started a theatre company. So
I did.
how how what age were you when you started that?
So with a group of us, we graduated drama school and like gluttons for punishment, went directly up to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, whole month there. Um, and because we loved theatre, so we managed to get a residency at our local sort of fringe theatre. Yeah, we were just this. I think also you graduate, you're in this bubble for 3 years with these people that become your surrogate family, and you suddenly graduate, and it's all a bit like,
Mm.
like a way of us still operating together and also being in charge of our creativity. We could put a show on and actually perform rather than sort of try and get agents and apply, casting directors and endless auditions to get to do this thing that we could actually just
Yeah.
do ourselves. And so yeah, that was a fun time.
So was it not daunting in any way? It's just kind of, did it feel natural to just do something like that?
Yeah, no, it was great. I think, I mean, at that point, we just graduated drama school. We loved it. It was great. And then after a while, we were kind of thinking, I don't know, our aspirations were kind of, we wanted to try other things and maybe do some TV and film and all of that kind of thing. And you get agents, and the commission from theatre isn't as great as the commission from you doing, like, I don't know, an Andrex ad, but I don't know. But basically, having an agent, you kind of get pushed slightly into a different direction, I think, in those days anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, then we sort of went our separate ways in terms of, I think we all naturally, some of us were writers, some of us were directors, and some of us sticked with the acting, and some of us became plumbers. I mean, I don't know, it was a long time ago now, but
So on that kind of front, like actors, writers, stuff like that, because you did a bit of both, what would you consider that you're best at out of the two?
well, I mean, I gave up acting a long time ago, really. And I went and did a master's in creative writing and got an agent. And I was really thought I was going to be like a sort of polar neck wearing, um, like noveliste, smoking French cigarettes. But actually, my because I kind of fallen out with the whole acting, I kind of felt rejected by the whole industry in a way. So
Mm.
by it. So when I was doing my MA and they were suggesting that I was kind of quite had an aptitude for the screenwriting, I was thinking, no. But it did come easily, and I got an agent, and then I spent a decade creating storylines and characters and writing dialogue and stuff. And then it's only in the last couple of years that people have suggested I actually perform some of the stuff that I've written. And yeah, so here we are. I wrote a play that was off the back of a TV series we very nearly got made, but COVID kind of like kicked it to the curb.
Mm-hmm.
As it was such a personal story, I just couldn't quite let it go. And going back to that, being in control of your own creativity and your own, I have no control over broadcasters or production companies. I have control over this kind of I was going to say piece of paper, but not a Word document. And I can do that. And then if I can find a space to do it, it's just me and the audience. And it's sort of, I like that, actually.
Yeah.
It's so,
Touching back on the acting before we move on, obviously, like if people search you up online, a lot it will be Troy.
yeah, yeah.
Um, Obviously, you did another program after that, Entropy, is it called?
Oh yeah, no, I did.
which won quite a few awards at like student festivals and things like that.
Yeah,
So, what?
I think. I mean, I did. I think it was around that time that I kind of then sort of left the whole industry. See, I'd done so much theatre, like I'd done over 50 shows or something, and
Mhm.
that was what I loved, was the process. And the film and TV is an awful lot of, it's a completely different skill in that you're doing such mini at times, well, you're doing obviously scene by scene, and even then you stop, reset, lighting, different shots, kind of, it's very stop start.
Mhm.
Immerse yourself in an hour or an hour and a half. um and yeah, and also I found it just the whole, I don't know, just the industry's, it is tough. And I think the time where I was at that time in my life, just the sort of, I think I saw it was Matt Damon. I saw a snippet of him being interviewed talking about sort of Hollywood, and he was saying it was him and Ben Affleck. They auditioned for Dead Poets Society, and they got recalled, and they very nearly got it, but they didn't end up getting the gig. And so then that summer, Matt Damon got a job like as an usher in a cinema,
Mhm.
and Dead Poets Society was on, and he said just the fact that he could have been the one on that screen, but he was the one tearing the tickets, just how sort of fickle and how close it all is just it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is tough. I mean, whenever you hear people speaking about the TV and film, it is. There's no that many opportunities, and there's so many people going for every role.
Yeah, and there's often no real rhyme or reason. I mean, it'll be, people will be casting to a specific type in looks, and then, I mean, the whole process before you even get to sort of working with the director, or
Mm.
I mean, there's a lot of components, but I mean, the whole of the industry is just, I mean, it's changing very much like music in terms of streamers instead of broadcasters, and fire sticks or whatever. So people are no longer paying for those channels. It's kind of like the artists then don't get the money, much like streaming, or you know, uh,
Yeah.
Spotify came and replaced all the record sales. But so it's evolving. We just don't know where.
So musically, then, uh,
Mm.
did that feel like a jump, like when you decided to get
Um,
in the music route?
Not really. I think I had been writing poems. I was kind of doing the performance poet scene, and I was writing lyrics, and then it was kind of the next step, and in a way that it it, it fulfilled that performance side, because I wasn't on stage acting anymore, but I was on stage kind of like delivering these quite personal lyrics, and
Mhm.
it that felt natural in a way. I think it was my kicking back against the whole industry of that I could just be myself. It was just me on stage, kind of singing these
Yeah.
messages or like expressions, and kind of, yeah, coming from somewhere where you are kind of typecast in a way. You're either the ingenue or the this or the that, and sometimes it's very hard to break out of that. It's just the whole, when you're at that level of the game, you can't sort of like change your look too much, because that's how you're being touted in, spotlight or your
Hmm.
headshots. I mean, you have a type that you're up for all the time, and I just felt like I wanted to get tattoos and scream "fuck" down a microphone.
Eh, so of it, like this was around about 2013 that kind of the um Aura Vars became a
Yeah.
thing.
So,
See, like the poetry, like the spoken word to music. I'm
yeah.
trying, like looking back, I'm trying to think,
That
was there
was
a lot of that happening then?
well. I did a the Fay Rays was like 2005, 6. I think it started.
Right.
So that was sort of like in the. I guess we arrived just in the indie landfill
Mm-hmm.
era, but that was a great time. Then I think the Au revoirs was Cammy and I. Cammy's the guitarist. We thought, fuck it, let's form a band, another band, and start writing again. So that was the Au revoirs when we were a little bit older, and then I had a few solo singles and did a few bits on my own, which is where I did a lot more of the spoken word type.
Right. Because I've seen like comparisons to K Tempest, which I think her work's tremendous. I seen that the first time I seen her was it Glastonbury? That it was a year Glastonbury was the on, and they did like a kind of special on the telly, and she
Mm,
did some poem where she was just walking about the empty fields, and it was brilliant.
mm,
That's how I got into her, and then I had one of my first guests in the podcast was Beans and Toast,
mm,
and that was he said that if I could get him doing the podcast, it should be K Tempest.
mm.
3 years ago, still not got her either. Um, so do you mind the kind of comparisons to her?
Well, I think it's kind of, I think maybe at the time there wasn't anyone else or many people doing sort of spoken word to music necessarily, but now there are like Ray does it very well.
Hmm.
There's plenty now, but yeah, maybe at the time there that was an obvious. I guess her first album was kind of out, and she was everywhere. I don't know, but yeah, I mean it's weird because at the time there was a lot of industry were kind of saying it's two things. They were kind of saying this isn't going to work. It's two things. It's kind of is it music? Is it kind of you know? Whereas
Yeah,
now everybody's doing it. There's I
yeah.
think
It feels so natural for it's the same sort of thing. You're getting an expression out there. You're doing it on a stage with an audience. What
yeah,
it's the best place to do it.
yeah. And I think just mashing up the poet. I mean, people have been doing that for years. I think it's maybe because I sort of went into song for the choruses, and then I don't know, who knows, but yeah, that was my way of just sort of getting more lyrical content into a song without having to worry about Cammy's riffs.
So with the Oravars, um, lots of stuff. You supported the Charlatans.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you played festivals, Isle of Wight, Forgotten Fields.
Mm.
Well, did you sign to Rough Trade? Is that correct?
We signed to one of the umbrella labels. I don't. I, I think well, Rough Trade distributed quite a lot of stuff. I'm trying to think. That was with the Au revoirs, was it? They did. I think that was Sound Recordings, and then I did. Oh yeah, it was because I signed to something as a solo artist that was
Mhm.
yeah. I clearly eradicated it all from my memory.
Yeah, I think I'm right. As I said, I've done 3 hours research this morning, so if I've got that wrong after all that time, I've wasted my morning. Um, Obviously, like, you had a few singles out as well.
Yeah,
And looking on the Instagram, it was like albums coming soon. So what
yeah.
happened there? And is there any recordings that would come out later on, or
That album is the solo album.
the with the Au revoirs?
Oh yes, the Au revoirs album. So what happened was we were signed to this label, or we were signing with this label, and I think there was a long protracted argument over the contract with
Mhm.
our then manager and the label, and I think then we ended up kind of just between a rock and a hard place, because we were like, do we get rid of our manager? But then you're back as an unrepresented artist trying to negotiate a contract, which is terrible.
Mhm.
So in the end, I think there was some squabbling between some members and the manager, and then that relationship broke down, and we were just like, we can't. I think then we were going to get, yeah, you can't sign a label without a manager, and so I
Yeah.
think it. We were kind of like, I think one by one, people were like, oh no, I can't do this anymore. Oh no, I can't do this anymore. And so I signed with them as a solo artist. Uh, yeah, and just did a couple of singles. And then I believe, yeah, I think that takes us up to just before lockdown as well. So that kind of fucked a lot of stuff, really. I was
Yeah.
supposed to do a TV show, that's what it was, and kind of got dicked around by this American producer who wanted to basically do like this reality show around a record label and have all kinds of different artists in different genres and kind of document it all. And that was another example.
What
Just
sort of thing would that be like looking at different roles within the music industry?
yeah, they were going
I
to set
find
up.
that be really interesting because that's I try and get people like that on the podcast for different. It's, for me to help me kind of learn what everybody does. I've just started managing a band in the last 6 months, so I'm always kind of looking for advice on stuff like that. That would have been a brilliant program.
Yeah, I don't that. Yeah, it would have been great. It would have been paid a lot of money to just make a record. But yeah, again, I don't know what happened with them or their negotiations. They were like, don't know, just LA, blah. But yeah, so like a lot of times you have these kind of protracted sort of artistic. It's the same in TV and film. Like they say, until you're eating your bacon sandwich on set on the first day of filming, just don't assume it's going to happen,
Mm.
because there's so many things or that can kind of like pull out or go wrong. And so but you have to always talk about everything as if it is going to happen.
Going back to the kind of solo stuff, obviously you supported the Libertines. Then how is that kind of um supporting your little brother?
Oh, it
Like
was great.
and his band's getting massive.
I mean, it was great because it was just like hanging out with the boys, and it was, yeah. I mean, we all get on so well, and I just appreciative to play those kind of amazing venues and then hang out with some really lovely guys. I
Mhm.
mean, obviously the best gigs. Um, and yeah, I've always been massively proud of them. It's surreal to think how long ago it was that I would stand in pubs with very few people watching them kind of play those songs,
Yeah.
those songs even. Um, yeah, it's surreal. Uh, yeah, it's like someone pressed fast forward sometimes. You're like, what? How did, how
Yeah,
did,
and I mean, this is the thing, they're bigger than ever again. Obviously, with the break they had, and then they've come back, and it seems from the outside that obviously with
they,
age and the years that have gone by, they're all more mature and more settled and comfortable within each other's company now.
well,
Which,
it seems like to me, because really, by the time that they were releasing the first album, even there were already cracks. So for
Hmm.
me, you know, all those years playing the pubs of Camden and um, that I don't know, that's what I kind of how I remember everyone getting on
Hmm.
um yeah, even at the very beginning they were just so they put a lot of work into getting signed, and when they were signed, everyone was so pleased for them. And it was I remember I was working some shit job, and Carl came in and gave me a card. I can't remember what I was doing. I think I was about to go off and do an acting job or something. So it was a kind of like a sort of break a leg card. But I opened it up and he'd put 2 grand in cash in it. And I was like, what? Like in those days, I was like, whoa. So yeah, I mean, all of that running around, doing all of that was so lovely. And it really seems like it seems like those days again. But obviously we're all in our 40s, which is random. But
Yeah.
it feels a lot of that time in between was kind of about ex expectations, in your 20s of themselves as well as outside record labels, just all that pressure, everybody wanting a piece of them as they do when debuting and young, and
Yeah.
now they're sort of in their 40s, they're more sure of themselves and they're kind of like they don't have all of that so much. So it's very lovely, and then growing up alongside each other, got families that all know each other, kids, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's the thing I enjoy looking at, like all the kids and all that, and seeing how, as you touched on earlier, it's like a family. Like I've had Jack Jones on the podcast with Trampoline, and see when you see the amount of gigs that Trampoline have played with him, and you see the videos of him backstage, and it just looks like the one band. Like everybody's so happy. It's just all a big family, and you get Pete with his dogs roaming about and all that. It's
Yeah,
brilliant.
yeah. No, it's nice, and because they have the same techs and
Hmm.
tour managers and all of that stuff, so you turn up and you know everyone, and yeah, it's very lovely.
So, like during the solo stuff as well, you started doing like shows with this feeling and Mikey Jones. Um, Mikey Jones comes up quite a bit in the podcast. I always like to ask people that know him how important do you think Mikey Jones is to the music industry?
I mean, he's probably the only real champion of guitar music, to be honest, and that indie kind of. Well, he's got an empire now, isn't he? He's one of the biggest
Yeah,
promoters of that kind of music. I mean, you'll always find venues that have nights that will obviously put on guitar bands and stuff, but in terms of like the This Feeling TV, the sort of albums he's put together, the all the stuff that he does, the stages at festivals. I think a lot of those bands wouldn't be playing at festivals if it wasn't for Mikey. I mean, yeah, and he's always giving new bands a chance, and yeah, I think he's hugely important.
yeah.
He's kept the noughties alive.
Well, and this is they're coming up for an anniversary. I emailed them at the start of the year about coming on the podcast, and I think he said round about October. It's like
Mm.
I think it's their 20th anniversary or something. So it was. I think we're talking about maybe having him on then about then to kind of highlight that. So 20 years gone doing what he's been doing is amazing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know. Yeah, he is. Yeah. Have you met him before?
No, I've spoke to him via email quite a bit. Obviously,
He's a he,
I deal with Katie Glyfer, who I don't know if she still works with him. She does PR for a lot of bands as well, so she's quite close to him as well. So I mean, I think Katie's brilliant as well at what she does. So I see they
mm.
two as the most powerful people in music, you know.
Yeah, 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 definitely. I mean, especially if you consider that the apart from like the introducings, the radio stations, the Spotify, all of those platforms, they're all owned by record labels that are putting a tiny percentage of, it's just all marketing. All of that's paid for. Like there is no in for anyone that isn't a major label's baby. So it's hugely important to have people like Mikey.
Yeah. Yeah, shout out to Mikey Jones. I'm going to be on to him in a few months once I'm waiting in this band recording a demo. And that's the first place it'll be gone is Mikey.
Yeah.
Obviously, like before we move on, like some other solo stuff you done, like surrounding the Grenfell Tower, you done like some fundraising for that with Trampoline played on that as well. So kind of going back to the spoken word and music, obviously Trampoline are quite renowned for that. Obviously Jack Jones does a lot of spoken word. Have you ever thought about working with him, doing anything like that?
I don't know if we kind of, I mean, I think he was doing sort of, because they've been around for ages, haven't they? I think he wasn't doing that so much. I think they were sort of singing, and I think our paths never really crossed in that sense. I know I got him in for that Grenfell gig because I know Tony so well, because Tony
Lankin.
Yeah, Tony was doing my PR.
Right.
He's managed them for years, and he's always done Carl's PR and the Libertines PR. So that's where he sort of introduced Jack to Peter. I think because then Peter was looking for a guitarist for some solo tour. So then Jack played.
Right.
That's where that came up. And and then I kind of had been out of the scene. I know Pete signed him to his label.
Yes, that.
Yeah, I mean, I've met him at places, but I don't know him. You know.
I think used to would be perfect together, man.
Yeah. I mean, no, I always see him, but it's always sort of at an event where you're unlikely to really remember what you talk about, I guess.
Oh man, honestly, one of the nicest guys in music, that boy as well. Whenever I've seen him at concerts, he comes up and he goes round the full crowd, getting everybody cuddles and all that. Oh, he's brilliant. He's one of my next gigs. I'm going to see him in November. He's doing his solo stuff.
Oh yeah, no, I know he's done. Yeah, he's done some solo. He's done a couple of solo things. Well, didn't he do?
I think he brought out a single a few years back, but he's got a new one out. I think the album's on the way.
And he's doing a lot of spoken word, is he?
Yeah, I think there's going to be quite a bit of spoken word on the album, from what I've heard, and obviously he brought out a book there. He brought out like I think it's like a kind of autobiographical novel, and I think he's got another book coming out, like tour diaries or something, that's coming out along with this new album. So he's really busy.
Yeah. I was getting DC Fontaines. I was going to say as well.
Right.
Aren't they? My wife always says, like, remember when those? Can't remember who it was. I think it was anyway. He's saying it doesn't work, spoken word and music.
Yeah, I mean, I've had quite a few kind of spoken word guests, so I think it definitely works. I had Matt Abbott. I don't know if you can remember him for what was it, Skint and Demoralised? That was back in around about that time, 2005. Skint and Demoralised. He did the Nationwide Bank adverts.
Oh,
He done
really?
that. He was part of that scene. I think he was pals with Reverend and the Makers and all them.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I've had lots of spoken word. I had a guy, Jack Horner, Leon the Pig Farmer. He's
Oh, yeah.
um aye, all sorts, and it's up and down the country because initially I thought kind of spoken word was quite big up north, but
Yeah,
it turns out it's just as big down your end as well.
yeah, yeah. Always, yeah. Brighton, London.
So, like you mentioned COVID. How did kind of COVID affect everything?
So we were literally a day away from getting the green light from Channel 4 to do this TV show. And yeah, then the whole of the drama department were furloughed. And then, yeah, then when we came back, people had moved around, budgets were slashed. There was a backlog of stuff that was either canned or now there was a waiting list of, everything's behind. It still kind of affected the whole TV industry. And then, the writers' strikes kind of compounded that. So everyone's quite tentative it's so much more expensive now to make an hour of TV. It costs the same to make a half hour.
Mm-hmm.
The sound effect is insane. And people, yeah, production companies don't have the money to develop stuff. Like everyone's sort of playing it safe again now. It's about, I don't know, it's a really weird time, I think, with all the streamers and then certain streamers not doing so well, others popping up. But like, yeah, everyone's got these fire sticks so they can just
Mm.
subscribe to anything and get all the content. But
The thing with the streaming as well, like if you look at Netflix, like Netflix maybe 5 years ago was pumping a lot of money in and making new programs and all that, but a lot of the stuff now on Netflix is older stuff that they've bought in.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think there's a lot of co-pros happening as well. So um, production companies are more keen to co-pro with America or Australia or
Mm.
somewhere already got another territory bought in. You're getting the budget put in. Yeah, and then also just it's cheaper to buy stuff in than make it. So I think there's a lot of really decent Australian drama that we were never seeing before that the BBC's kind of bought in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Netflix and stuff. So I mean, in a way it's good because you're exposed to new stuff rather than just because everything's territories, isn't it? So that in Netflix UK is obviously sort of still buying in what they think a UK audience wants. So it's still kind of filtered in a way. Whereas when you've got access to other things, it's kind of quite inspiring. Mind you, there's always periods of time where there's loads of really good stuff, and then you're back to just the dross of kind of like quite badly budgeted crime plotted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Around about this time as well, there was a Heartless.
Yes,
So,
yeah.
like, I couldn't really make sense of what it was. Was
So
that you and Carol kind of managing them?
yes, so Carl and I wrote the songs. We auditioned actor musicians because that we also shot a sort of teaser of a series that was loosely based on kind of the Libertines and
Mm-hmm.
well, I wrote it so it's from my perspective. So it sort of yeah. But it was about that time of being in our 20s and just a group of kind of like impoverished musicians and actors and stuff and then it was sort of just before they sort of signed and went stratospheric from nowhere, so it's just about sort of this kind of like the dreamers in the early noughties living in London, doing shit jobs, but
Mm-hmm.
having like just access to venues and literature and alcohol and, you know,
Yeah.
all the good stuff from your
Yeah.
early days. Um, yeah, so that was what we did. We did the released a couple of songs, did a music video, and all of that was supposed to sort of create a buzz for the broadcasters and make it stand out from all the other TV
Right.
pits, really.
So that ties in with that then. So did it not get it? Didn't get any bites then? No.
Well, that was again interrupted. That was
Yeah, right
yeah.
in the middle of all
We're
the.
talking about. I spoke to the producer the other day, um, and we were talking about maybe dusting it off, getting it out and dusting it off again, and
Well, like with the success of that Camden documentary,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know what I mean? It would be perfect. Like everybody's mad for that, isn't it?
I know, which ironically is the guy who was at Channel 4 who was going to greenlight it ended up at Disney at Hulu.
Right.
Timings, all the timings are kind of, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like this would be perfect for you. We are kind of you get a foot in both camps, so to speak, with the kind of TV and the music. It'd be ideal.
Yeah. I mean, that was kind of, well, this is kind of it all, it's all thrown together in this place. I have got people across the industries kind of coming to see it. So we'll see if any interest is sparked. But yeah, I kind of basically the the play is it 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 features a bit of that era and then obviously moves up.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's got music, original music in it. So yeah, it's kind of like a sort of a stage presentation of what could also be a TV series. So yeah, I mean, all these things are multi-platform, really.
Yeah. And how then, like writing this play with three young kids, how do you juggle all that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, usually
What age are they? Are they five or something?
they're five. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
so I
when
mean, one 5-year-old would be enough, but
yeah, you have to be. I think if I don't know, I think a large part of being an artist is procrastination. So I think maybe that mine is turned into the exhaustion of just getting the kids out the door to school and just then clearing up the trail of destruction they've left in their wake
yeah,
and then just trying. I think being inspired enough that you just that's all you think about, that you are just loading the dishwasher and you get an idea and you think I have to note that down before I forget it, and you're just always being pulled back
hmm,
to. And I think writing, it takes you obviously have to do all the groundwork to get it to that place, but once you're in that place and you're kind of you've creating it, you've got the foundations down, and it's kind of easy. That's the fastest part because you're just every second you get, you're back at the laptop, just or you're making notes on your phone going, oh, do this, or that's a good idea, or so that part is great. Sometimes it's just making the space to actually get to that point, because having a kernel of an idea is never enough. You have to sort of have the guide ropes down. But yeah, then I'd say I mean, I'd stay up till like 2 in the morning because, or just even though the kids would wake me up at 5 because
so
I want to get the stuff on the page.
yeah, because it's a passion, isn't it? It's kind of just what you do, and you need to do it.
Yeah, I'd say, yeah, it's a passion, but sometimes it's more than that. It's like it's involuntary.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So you've performed this. It's already been out on the road, hasn't it? I think you've
Yeah.
done like in Dublin and stuff last year.
Yeah. It was selected for a festival in Dublin last year, and so now I go again in London.
Yeah, so from Monday the 24th, which is Monday coming,
Yeah.
you're in Clapham
Uh-huh.
for the 24th to the 29th.
Yeah.
Is there still tickets available for that?
Not for the Tuesday.
Tuesday's a press day, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll tell you when there are. Yeah, Tuesday's full. The sort of the Monday, the Wednesday, the Saturday nights are sort of are filling up. The Saturday matinee, Thursday, Friday, those are the ones where there are still tickets because we're obviously I'm obviously fighting against football and a heat wave and
Mhm.
Glastonbury, but it
Well,
is.
I mean, I'll post a ticket link. I'll put the ticket link up in the show notes. I don't usually rush episodes out, but I think this one will be all right. I don't think there's much editing needed, so I'll try and get this out later today and
Oh,
get the word out and um sell some more tickets for you. Hopefully, if I've got
oh,
any London listeners.
I
Um,
appreciate it.
what's next then? Is there plans to take the show anywhere else?
Yeah, I think the plans are to tour it at the end of the year and then hit Edinburgh next year for the play.
Right.
Yeah, and then I've got some TV projects that I'm going to be hopping onto next. And yeah, we onwards we stroll.
I'll be looking forward to that. Then I'll be looking forward to Edinburgh. I might come and see you there.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Um, I mean that's super busy, and my hat goes after you with juggling all that with your wee family as well. Um, the last part of the podcast, obviously, we've been called "Time for Heroes," um, stolen off one of the greatest bands ever. Um, I asked my guests to pick four heroes to come for dinner.
Hmm.
Why they're your heroes, and what would you cook for them, just to see if you're a good cook.
Yeah, no, there's that it was the what we cooked for them part that struck the most terror into my heart.
Yeah, it
Wondered
freaks every day at that.
takeaway from the local Cuzzer house would be my go-to.
Uh,
Uh, um, I'll- uh, I'm still stuck on the cook. Do you know what? I'll sound like an 18-year-old student, but I do love a good spag bowl.
Brilliant. You
Really
can't go wrong with spag bol.
love it with a nice glass of red, or or I do like a really winey kind of like a chicken chasseur or that kind of thing with or a bourguignon with mash.
Yeah. Well, I think we're getting a gist it. The key to it's the wine, I think.
Yeah, it's all linked with red wine. Yeah, I could make any of those quite confidently. Um, and I would invite Patti Smith, head of the table, I think.
Hmm.
Mm, uh, oh, you said alive or dead, right?
Yeah, dead or alive,
Dead
whatever
or alive.
you want. They don't need to be musicians. They can be whoever you.
Can you? What about? Do you have to think about if they'll get on?
No, I mean it's probably better, more eventful if
That's
you
it.
pick a challenging bunch.
Okay. I mean, there's some fucking interesting dead people, aren't there? I would. I mean, obviously, everyone wants Oscar Wilde, don't they, for the bounce and the wit and the
Yeah.
law.
Well, he's to be honest, I don't think he's ever been picked on the podcast. But as I say, that's what I like. I like it when people go
Think
different
you
pick.
know, if I think Patty would be yabbering away to him though. In the, I think they get on quite well. Um, That would be amazing. And then who else would I like? I would quite like Macklemore.
Right.
Yeah. And no, maybe not. I don't know. It depends if he's in a ranty mode. I mean, I love everything he's got to
Yeah,
say.
well, I like his rants. He did
Yeah.
something not that long ago about Palestine, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah. He's all about pro Pally, but he's very eloquent, and I think what he's doing is amazing. I just like his kind of whole, yeah, fuck it, I'll say what I want and speak up for the
Yeah, I mean but that's the sort of thing I want for my musicians. You
mm,
want
yeah,
them to kind of be speaking about things. We
yeah,
get a guy up here, again, another boy I've had in my podcast, Declan Welsh.
mm,
He just released a single last Friday called Walking Gaza,
yeah,
all about what's going on over there. And it's brilliant.
good. I think,
Towards the end, it's a big rant about um, a 6-year-old getting killed. It's like listening to it. It's harrowing, but it's what people need to hear to understand what's going on.
well, I think the artists genuinely can change the world if they're not, if being like Hollywood took a long time to say anything because Susan Sarandon got dropped. Everyone was like, you'll get cancelled, your bread and butter gets taken away from you, you've got to toe the line. But actually, you're the ones that are fucking, as soon as everyone joins together and speaks out, then the industry are kind of, like
Yeah.
Barclays of those festivals because artists refuse to perform. It takes them standing up. Sorry, the final is this is really fucking hard. I bet you've had a lot of Kurt Cobains, haven't you?
No, again, I haven't.
Oh, I'd have Kurt.
That's weird, then. Like, see, looking through my guests, I don't think ever actually.
Well, yeah, I'll go with them then. I
Yeah,
think I'll.
they are brilliant picks as well. I mean, for the podcast we called Time for Heroes, I
Mm,
don't think the Libertines have been picked that often either. You know,
yeah.
it's mental. I think I had one guy, Tom Bowen, who used to play in Kill City.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
he picked the full band. That
Oh,
was his 4 picks. But other than that, not really a lot. It's been quite kind of. I'm close to 100 episodes, and it's been quite varied. The guests, the picks, and things like that. Obviously, John Lennon is high up.
yeah,
John Lennon and David Bowie are usually the main picks.
yeah. I think Kurt Cobain would be very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, like,
I think
uh,
that's quite. I've got quite a good sort of seating plan there. I think everyone will kind of get on, have good chats.
Patti Smith would be amazing to speak to, man.
Mm.
I was
Yeah.
listening. I was listening to. I mean, I've not listened to Patti Smith in a while, and I was listening to your mixtape with
Oh yeah,
Carl and Mikey Jones, and you played Patti Smith on that. It was brilliant.
yeah. No, she's also if you listen to her, she's just really. I mean, anytime I've listened to her on a podcast, she's just so. I mean, really interesting, really well read, but really kind of just real and humble and in the moment and almost oblivious to her kind of sort of legacy. Just sort of genuinely loves her literary heroes, writing, reading poetry, and fucking loves she knows her shit and it gives her life and it's really nice. It's inspiring, I think.
Brilliant. Um, we'll end it there, but just before you go, if you want to, I don't know if you know where to direct people to buy tickets. If you want to say it on air, and then I can post
Oh,
a
yeah,
link as well.
it's the Omnibus Theatre in Clapham. So it's the Omnibus Theatre. It's right on Clapham Common, one north side. Clapham Common. Just Google them and yeah, buy a ticket. It'll be awesome.
Brilliant. Yeah, buy tickets Monday the 24th of June to the 29th of June.
Yeah.
Aye.
Only so you can still get out into those beer gardens or catch the football.
Yeah. No, make sure you go and see this play. Standing in the Shadows of Giants. And if you get time after the play, then you can watch some football. But this is more important. And it's only there for a week.
Yeah.
So, aye, guys, go and buy tickets. But it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you today, Lucie. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you so much. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Time for Heroes podcast. If you would like to get in touch, the best way is on the Facebook page, Time for Heroes podcast, or on Instagram at Time for Heroes podcast, or Twitter at Time for Heroes P1, or drop me an email at timeforheroespod@gmail.com. You'll find Time for Heroes on all podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple, Google, and Amazon. Please leave a review where you can, share with others, and more importantly, enjoy.